Good afternoon. You're probably sitting in class right now thinking to yourself, what is this first year experience course all about? And why do I have to watch this talking head video? Well, hopefully we can clear up both of those questions for you by the end of our session today. I'm going to, in this session today, talk to you about the early experience class and talk to you a little bit about active learning. So those are the two pieces of this video today, is what is this class about? And second, what is active learning? So let's begin with what is this class all about? Terry Miles has handed out to you a syllabus, and that's what I want to briefly talk to you about. I'm not going to go through it in detail because you can read it on your own, but I do want to point out some key things. The first thing is my name. My name is Professor Kelly McKenzie. Please remember my name. I am going to remember all of your names because I think you're all really important and I'm sure very interesting, and I really look forward to getting to know you. So please remember my name, Professor McKenzie. And I am not in class today because I'm actually traveling, and I had these plans prior to the course. And so this is my way of still being with you, is by doing this YouTube video. I'm not going to be here today or Wednesday, so you will see me on Wednesday again in a YouTube video. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any classes and that you got to know me a little bit prior to my first time back, which will be the second week of your classes. So I am traveling, and I am going back to my alma mater. I am from California, and I am going to be visiting my college, my university, which is California State University, San Bernardino. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm also going to be visiting family and friends. So I do love to travel a lot, and probably that's going to be something I discuss a lot in class with you. I've taught in 2 different countries. I travel extensively, and I really have a passion for the global environment and learning more about it. And also I have a passion for teaching others about culture and the importance that it has in our society. So you probably will get a little bit of that in our class. So what is the first year experience class about is probably what you're also thinking, and this syllabus should give you some of an idea. Really, the first year experience class is about helping you to transition into East Stroudsburg University. This kind of course was developed a number of years ago by a man named James Gardner, and he developed the course because he noticed that a lot of students were coming from a high school environment into a university environment, and they had no indication of what a university education was going to be like. So it was really important that we have this sort of course so that we can help you succeed academically. And the way that this course is developed in order to do that is we will discuss your career goals, your personal goals, your academic goals. We're going to discuss academic success strategies, and we'll also talk about critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And that should give you a really good background in order to be successful in anything you do here at East Stroudsburg University. If you look at the syllabus, it's going to tell you everything that we're going to do in terms of assignments. I do want to point out a couple of things, though, that I think are important. So if you have the syllabus, please follow along with me. You should have it. If you don't, stop this video, and Ms. Miles can hand it out to you, and then you can start the video again. Okay, so this is what I want to point out in terms of the syllabus. The first thing that you will want to look at on the syllabus is on page 2, and that is, I'm sorry, yes, it's on page 2. I have my papers mixed up here, which is attendance. Class attendance is required. You receive 20 points towards your final grade. If you're absent for any reason, you will have a reduction of 5 points in your final grade. So for any reason whatsoever, 5 points. Participation. It's really important that you participate in class in a respectful manner, and that you also are participating in a thoughtful manner. So in order to ensure that this happens in our class, there are 2 things that I want you to keep in mind. One is no cell phone usage. If you use your cell phone, you'll be asked to leave the class. Number 2 is that you communicate with other people in the class in a respectful, thoughtful, and kind manner. So if you are disrespectful to anyone in the class, I am going to ask you to leave. It is important that we all are open to ideas and that we learn if there is something that we disagree with, that we can disagree and we can do it in a thoughtful manner, and that we can do it in a manner that is not going to be disrespectful to other people. So that is the participation component of the course. You'll also see on here academic honesty. If you are caught cheating, plagiarizing, copying other people's material, you will receive a 0 for the assignment, and the material that you've copied or plagiarized will go forward to a judicial board review. Once that happens, there is a board of 5 people, I believe it's 5 people, who will talk about what has taken place and whether or not it will constitute some kind of judicial response. And what that means is a suspension from the university, expulsion from the university. So you don't want to do any of those things that are going to cause that problem. If you give someone material that you've done and they use it, that's considered also that you're cheating. So don't think that because you give somebody else your work and they copy it, that you're home free. Just make sure that all the work that you do is your own and that you don't allow anybody else to use your work as their own, and you'll do fine. Okay? So the next thing on your sheet then that I wanted to point out to you is also on your syllabus here is accommodations. If you are eligible for accommodations, please see me and we'll make sure that you get what you need. And then the next page, if you go to page 3, what you're going to see is grading. I'm going to let you read that on your own. And then page 4, again, more information about grading, participation, etc. You can read that on your own. And page 5 also is just a little bit more information about grading. The next part of the syllabus, which is page 6, is the list of assignments that you're going to be doing. So if you look at week 1, you're going to see that you're going to be reading chapter 1 and that you're going to be doing journal number 1 and journal number 2. So for tonight, your homework is going to be to read chapter 1 and to do journal number 1, page 33. And also, Ms. Miles is going to hand out to you a self-assessment. You're going to be doing that as well. So on Wednesday, when you come back to class, you're going to be handing in 2 assignments. You're going to be handing in Journal 1, which is page 33 in your on-course book. Okay, so that's Journal 1, page 33, on-course is due on Wednesday. That assignment must be typed. It must be typed. The other assignment you're going to do is your self-assessment. That does not need to be typed, but make sure you put your name on it and hand it in at the beginning of class. All work is due at the beginning of class. If it is not done at the beginning of class, you will receive a reduction in points. It will be considered late. So when we start class, I'm going to ask you to pass up all of your assignments. And if you do not have it done at that time and you're writing things at the last minute, it is going to be considered late. So make sure you have everything done at the beginning of the class. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about the course, you know a little bit more about me, and you know about the requirements and the assignments for the course, I'd like to move into active learning. And this is just going to be a brief segment on active learning because I wanted to start the class off with active learning because it is essential that you do not see learning as a spectator sport, that you see learning as being actively involved in what is taking place in the class. So there are 3 principles I'm going to talk about in terms of active learning. The first principle is that when you're in class or you're reading material, you should always try to connect what you know, what you're learning right now, to what you've learned previously. It keeps your mind engaged, it keeps you thinking about things, and it helps you to draw connections between what you're learning, and it helps you look for similarities and differences between what you're learning and what you've learned in the past. So in college life, there are going to be some very new experiences, but they're going to be very similar to past experiences. It's like living in a dorm. You've had sleepovers in your life, right? and probably extended long weekends with friends coming over. But now you're in a dorm and everybody has all of their items in one room together, and all of a sudden they might be going home for the weekend, but they're not taking their things with them. And so you have to learn how to live together. You have to learn how to be respectful of other people's spaces. And those long sleepovers actually have given you some good experiences, some good insight into how to do that, how to live with another human being. And also family, living with family or friends has also done that. But this is kind of a new situation. So there are going to be new things that you have to learn. But those experiences you've had previously should help you with learning how to live with other people in a dorm situation. If we look at our academic life, what we learned previously influences what we're learning right now. So for instance, if I feel that my math is a little bit shaky and I have to take a math course, and I get into the class and I'm not doing so well, it might be because my previous experience in math is impacting my current performance. And so I need to really analyze, what is it about the foundation of what I've learned in math that I don't have, and how can I get that? What can I do in order to build up my skills? So in college, you may find yourself in a class that you feel that, wow, I've never experienced anything like this before, and I just feel like I need a little bit more background, a little bit more of a foundation to perform well. And how am I going to get that? Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can assist yourself with that. Going to the professor and talking to the professor about those things that you think that you might need to brush up on and areas that you might be weak in, or even going to tutoring and working with a tutor in terms of those things that you need to brush up on. So connecting what you already know to the things that you're learning keeps you active, but it also helps you to detect those areas that you need to build a better foundation on. So if I'm shaky on something, it's going to help me learn where is that area that I'm shaky on, and how can I move forward in order to not let that hinder me and my academic performance. The second principle of active learning is quality of learning. Quality of learning, or what your book calls deep processing. So all this I'm talking to you is from chapter 1. Deep processing is really thinking about the information deeply, really working your brain hard. If you're not working your brain hard and you're not really thinking deeply about the information, then perhaps you're not really learning. I mean, learning takes time and it takes energy, and it does take a lot of mental work up here. Your brain is like a muscle when you're learning. You feel it strain. You feel something is really tough and difficult. And when you're feeling that strain and something is tough and difficult, a lot of times people shut down and say, oh, I can't learn this, I can't do this. But really, that's when you're involved in that deep processing, or the quality of learning, the quality. It has quality to it. You're thinking deeply and you're thinking hard about something. So when you are learning in a university environment, it's really important that you think deeply about something. I was working with a student once who was taking an astronomy class, and I was working with her on her notes to look at where she was having some difficulties because she wasn't doing well on her exams. And I noticed that she wasn't thinking deeply. She was memorizing the terminology so that she could take the exam, but she wasn't really thinking deeply about the material and how it all fit together and how one piece fit into another piece. And that's why she wasn't doing so well on her exam. So think deeply, think about how everything is working together. And that makes you an active learner because you're constantly involved in the material. But it's not just connecting what you already know to what you are learning now that keeps you active, and also thinking deeply and really working that brain as a muscle, but it's also spending time. And the number one reason students tell me that they have not done well in a university environment is because they said they did not spend enough time studying. They tell me that in high school, you don't have to study a lot. But when you get to college, it's expected that you're just going to study. And no one really talks to you about that this transition is going to take place where you have to study really hard and you have to put a lot of time into it. So what does that mean, putting a lot of time into it? Well, one thing I want to tell you is that spending an hour studying, where your friend calls and you pick up the phone, or you're text messaging, or you're looking at Facebook, or you're doing Instagrams, or you're making Snapchat, those things are distractions that are taking away from your study time. So you need to get rid of those distractions and spend quality time where you're really focused and give yourself enough time to really focus on what you need to learn. So be an active learner. Don't forget, connect what you are learning with what you've learned before. If you find a gap in what you've learned before and what you're learning now, fill that gap by seeking help. Also, make sure that you spend time deep processing, really thinking about what you're learning. And third, make sure that you give yourself an adequate amount of time to learn the material. So welcome to the First Year Experience class. I hope that you're going to enjoy the journey of learning about how you learning successful study strategies to help you through university life. And also, I hope that we really have a great, enjoyable summer together. So what's up next in this class is you are going to be talking to the Career Development Director about careers. And I will see you on Wednesday to talk to you a little bit more about the First Year Experience course. Have a great day.